Welcome to our first episode of Gator Buzz. Today we'll be talking about the Gators who were drafted in the 2020 NFL Draft. I am joined here today by Tyler Jordan and Marcus Gibbons. How you guys doing today?
Good, you,
man?
Good.
Good. So we have an extensive, history with the Florida Gators. The Gators every year have a player that's drafted in the first round every single year, and coming from a program from Florida is, a high tier level program, and everyone wants to be recruited by Florida. Everyone wants to come to Florida slowly because of the coaches and the stigma around a program like that. They see players getting drafted every year, and those what kids want to do. They want to fulfill that dream, going to the NFL. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna talk about 7 kids that were drafted from this year. Started off, we're talking about C.J. Henderson, a cornerback from Florida. He is the 9th overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tyler, tell us a little bit about him.
Well, he's probably the quietest kid in the team that probably we know. We've only seen him really smile once, and it was because Coach Mullen made a joke that he never smiles, so he did smile. But last year the Jags released or traded away Jalen Ramsey and released AJ Boye, so he's got some big shoes to fill in that Jaguar secondary. He's a very athletic kid, very good man type of corner, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, for sure. He comes in at 6'1", 204 pounds, a pretty elite athleticism. He's known for his man coverage skills, so that's what Jaguars like in him. That's what they've had in Ramsey and Boye. And he also left early. I think he was the only player from Florida who left early.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
as you can see, he was the 9th overall pick, so I guess it paid off for him well.
Worked out pretty good.
Yeah. So congrats to CJ. We'll go on to our next guy, Van Jefferson. He was picked in the 2nd round, 57th overall pick to the LA Rams. And to me, Van Jefferson is a great player. He's a great leader. Playing with Van back when I was, playing football for Florida, he was always known for his crisp running routes, very, very, very to the T. Everything was to the T with him. He was a transfer from Ole Miss, so he was, already a SEC player, so he already knew what he was getting into. He comes from a football background already. His dad was an NFL football player. His dad now coaches for the New York Jets as a receivers coach. Him going into this role, I think he'll have an early impact with the Rams. He'll go into the mix with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, 2 great players that played the game. He also played in the Senior Bowl, so another add to his resume. I think he'll have definitely an early impact for the Rams. I think that's a great pick for them. I like it. What do you guys think?
I mean, I agree. I think it's a really good fit. I mean, that's a system that's a fast-paced fit out west with a pretty thriving offense. So I feel like he is just that crisp, like even slot player that can just get you a good, reliable 10, 15 yards in the middle, or even kick outside and get you downfield quickly.
Yep. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I think his ability to run his routes as well as he does is the biggest benefit for him. I remember we were playing Florida State my senior year, and he shook off one of their DBs, and I remember watching it as it happened.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of a block, and I'm holding the guy off, and I looked downfield, and I saw Van break this kid off. Felipe throws it downfield for a touchdown, and it was crazy.
I remember that. That was amazing. I think that was like the first time we won in 4 years.
Yeah, that was my only win over Florida State, but
yeah,
that was good.
Take it.
So coming in at number 3, we have Jabari Zuniga. He's a defensive end. He went in the 3rd round, 79th overall to the New York Jets. So me being a player for Florida, Tyler, you played for Florida. Marcus, you played for Florida. He played on the defensive line. We played on the offensive line. So we went against him multiple days in and out. Tyler, let's start with you. How do you feel about his athleticism, his size, what positions he could play? So,
yeah, well, He's definitely. I think he's one of those kind of stand-up end guys. He's very versatile. He's very quick twitch, and you learn that through days and days of blocking against him or being on the slide side when he's playing end on your side. And, he can come in on if they're bringing an outside blitz, he can spike in, he can pirate in.
Right.
And he's very quick twitch. He's worked in his body a lot. I remember when he first got to Florida, he was a little undersized, but he worked at it, and he worked really hard in the weight room. And I think with Coach Savage coming in, that just helped him put the pieces together to get his body where he needed to be. And now he's strong, he's athletic, he's physical. Hell, he ran a 4.64 40 at 260 something pounds, and he broad jumped 127 inches, which is super athletic.
I mean, 6'3", 265 pounds. That's incredible. Those are good numbers.
Running a 4.64. That's athletic.
Yeah, for sure. And his elite athleticism for a defensive line. I mean, look at his career at Florida. He had 18 and a half sacks. He had 18 and a half tackles for a loss. Those are pretty big numbers. I mean, that's good. Those are good stats, to put on.
That's even with battling some injuries. I mean, if he hadn't battled those injuries, it could have easily been in the 24, 25 region.
Yeah, so I think Jabari will definitely have a great role and a great impact for the Jets for sure. So coming in at number 4, we have Jonathan Greenard, a linebacker who was taken in the 3rd round, 90th overall to the Texans. He's a graduate transfer from Louisville. None of us have played with him. I think he's the only player who was drafted this year that we don't really know much about. But just going based off his stats, he had 1 year at Florida. He recorded 10 sacks and 47 QB pressures at Florida in 1 year, and that's amazing. He's a crazy athletic pass rusher, has great potential. I think he'll be great in the NFL. Tyler, how do you feel about him?
I think he's coming in the perfect spot. J.J. Watt's getting a little older. I think he's got some huge shoes to fill. Extremely athletic, really quick twitch, and he had a couple injuries last season, but he fought through them. He healed up, and he's going to be a key piece of a good NFL D line.
For sure. Marcus?
I agree. I mean, the main thing I like from the film of watching him is just how quickly he's able to get around the corner. So he'll do a spin move and whatnot, but he'll always be able to dip and rip under and be able to put that pressure on the quarterback. I mean, 47 like QB hurries in one season. That's in the SEC. That's incredible. That shows that he just has that drive, that motivation to pass rush. And he even could drop back, and I think he had a pick this year, and also was able to run that back for a pick six, I'm pretty sure. But that type of athleticism with the Texans that adds a different wrinkle to their defense.
Yeah, and I think he reminds me of kind of a Dante Fowler. He was the guy in Florida you could count on, and when it was 3rd down and you needed a sack or you needed a big play, he was there to step up and do it.
I like that comparison. I can see
it. It's actually a perfect comparison.
At number 5, we have LaMichael Pirine, a running back, taken in the 4th round, 120th overall. He will be joining fellow Gator Jabari Zuniga at the New York Jets. To me, Tyler, Marcus, we play with LaMichael. Great kid, great leader in the room, love to work hard, very competitive. I think he's a great player for the Jets. He'll be a great check down player, in my opinion, for Sam Darnold. He will back up the role. They have Le'Veon Bell, who just, signed a good free agent contract, to fill that role for the Jets. I think he'll get a few, early touches early in his career. How do you feel, Tyler?
I like it. One thing I liked about LaMichael was that he could turn plays that you just thought were 3-4 yard gainers into big explosive plays. I think the big three that stick out to me were last year, my senior year at Florida State. He had that big run down the sideline. You had the Auburn game last season, where he kind of, in a sense, put the nail in the coffin.
Yep.
And then the Orange Bowl, beginning of the game, he breaks off a huge run. And so I think that's one of his best traits is he can turn those 3, 4, 5-yard runs into the 60, 70-yarders. So I'm excited to see what he does at the next level.
Yeah, me too. Marcus, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like it's the perfect fit to kind of give you that 1-2 punch with Le'Veon Bell and him. You know, Le'Veon, he can get you, a few yards. You don't have to have him be hit as many times. You can throw P-Run in there. He can be just as explosive, and then also adds a pass catching, wrinkle to that. So he can, kind of give that 1-2 punch. And I mean, in college, he was always a very positive person, even with all the different things going on in college, whether it be a good season or a bad season. He was always positive and uplifting the offensive line and making sure that we were motivated to block for him, open up holes for him, and he can do his thing as well. I think it's a really good fit for the Jets because I feel like they get a really good player that can learn off Le'Veon, so that whether he's continues to be with the Jets or goes to another team, he can add those little things that Le'Veon teaches him in his own game and just make his repertoire even better.
All right, moving down the list, we have number 6, a fellow teammate that we all played with, Freddie Swain. He's a wide receiver. He was taken in the 6th round, 214th overall to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to let Tyler take this one away. Tyler, what do you think?
In terms of the type of person Freddie is, I think Seattle got a great person first and foremost. He was, I think, arguably, and y'all can talk about this a little more, but in the weight room, on the field, he was probably the most vocal kid that we had.
Yeah.
He was a leader. You weren't doing things right, he would tell you. He was very blunt, but at the end of the day, it's to get the team better. And he was always there for you. And I think that he could be a really good fit in the slot for the Seahawks. Very athletic. He can, like Michael, he can turn those little slant routes, those 5-yard slant routes, into explosive plays like he did to open up the Auburn game last season.
Yeah. Marcus?
Yeah, I agree. Freddie, I mean, he was always one of my favorite guys in the locker room because he always brought that positive attitude and also that hard-working attitude where it was like, though early on he didn't get many opportunities, but with the opportunities he got, he took advantage of it and excelled. So that then he had a big junior and senior year. So I feel like the Seahawks, they definitely got a steal. It's a great locker room guy as well as producing on the field, somebody who has really crisp routes, really good hands. Just like Tyler said, can blow any play, can blow it up. He can take a 5-yard slant route to a 80-yard touchdown run within a matter of seconds, as well as he has special teams experience as well. Back there returning kicks and punts. So I feel like they got a player who can do it all almost.
Right. So, I mean, looking back at his 4 years at, Florida, he had 38 receptions for 517 yards and 7 touchdowns. I mean, it's not that big of a, numbers in terms, but in my opinion, I think where he does best is that special teams, the kick return, punt return. And I think he's most explosive, as you see what he ran at the combine. He's fast.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, he reminds me of Demarcus Robinson, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, who got there, who didn't have a big role. And his big role was special teams. And then over the years, he played special teams, and now look at him. He just won a Super Bowl. He had a couple catches in the Super Bowl. Now he's a good wide receiver for Kansas City. And to me, Freddie Swain, that's what I see in Freddie Swain. I don't see him being a big impact on the offense right away, but I see him being a big impact for the special teams for sure.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's my opinion. All right, so last but not least, we have Tyree Cleveland. He's our 7th player drafted this year in the 2020 NFL Draft. He went in the 7th round, 252nd overall to the Denver Broncos. Marcus, I'm going to start this one off with you. How do you feel?
I mean, Tyree as a person, you know, from the very beginning, he was always somebody who you knew came in and was going to work as hard as he could to help the team in any way he could. You know, whether it be kick return, kickoff, you know, any role that he was given, he was going to do it the best that he could. Hard work in the weight room, really positive guy, really solid hands as well as crisp routes. I mean, the man's fast.
Yeah.
As you saw at LSU, you know, a few years back, I think it was 2017. You know, we're backed up on the 1 yard line. Austin Appleby throws it out to him. He breaks it off for a 99-yard run or so. But I think it's just a really good fit for him. I mean, 6'2", 209 pounds. He ran a 4.40. That shows size and speed. So, I mean, I'm happy. I'm really happy for him. And I think with the Denver Broncos, as much as they need a wide receiver, I think he fits right in there, can compete or really early on for any role.
100%.
And you're talking about they need wide receivers. Well, they got in this draft class, they got Jerry Jeudy from Bama. They got KJ Hamler from Penn State, and they got Tyree to help out Drew Lock. I mean, he's got a lot of weapons. But I think special teams is going to be huge. He'll be a big impact in special teams as well.
So now we'll move on to our undrafted players from Florida. We'll start off with Josh Hammond, a.k.a. Hot Sauce Ham. He's undrafted free agent to the Jags. 87 receptions, 1,138 yards, and 6 touchdowns in his career at Florida. Tyler, what do you think?
Well, first of all, he's probably one of the best Fortnite players that was on that team. That man, all he did was he played ball, he went to school, and he gamed. So that's the one thing I'm going to remember for him. But I had just talking about him as a person. He was in a lot of my classes. He was a telecom major as well, and you know, he was just a cool kid to hang out with. We studied together, but on the field, you know, he wasn't as explosive as, you know, Van or Freddie, but he was one of those reliable kids where if it's 3rd and 5, he pass the ball to him, he'll get the first down. So I think that he could fit in really well with the Jaguars. And I think he can be a really good fit for the Jaguars. You know, he could fit in there with DJ Chark and the rest of them. And he could be a really big impact player.
And to me, he's not going far from home. He's right up the road, and he's, you know, joining Jawan Taylor. He's joining, you know, all those other players that the Jags love. Taven Bryan. For some reason, the Jaguars love Florida Gators.
I mean, hey, the Jacksonville Gators.
You know, come from the Florida Gators. I think he'll do great there. I see a lot of potential. I do. And, you know, sometimes it's not those first-round draft picks. It's not those, you know, second round, third rounds. A lot of the times it's those – they take chances on undrafted free agents, and those are the ones who really do the best sometimes. And to me, I feel like Josh, you know, he's hard work. He comes from a background. His brother played for the Kansas City Chiefs. So he comes from a good background. He knows what the game of football is. He knows, you know, everything ins and outs of it. So I think he'll definitely have a good impact with the Jags. Our next undrafted player is Tommy Townsend. He's a punter for Kansas City Chiefs. He averaged 44.8 yards per punt, over 93 punts. So that's amazing. He had a long of 71 yards, and he has multiple fakes with 2 converting in first downs. And I'm proud to say I'm part of one of them. Vanderbilt, big punt, first down. Let's go. We go win the game. You know, great player, great attitude. Again, comes from a brother who plays in the NFL as a punter, has a great family. You know, he's a great person, and I think he'll do good. I think he'll win the job. I think he's one of the best going into it in this year's draft. Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, so the Chiefs recently released Dustin Colquitt after a long career. And I think he's in a position, you know, to fight through camp and get that starting spot, be the starting punter. So,
Marcus?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with the cutting of Dustin Colquitt, that definitely opened up a major opportunity for him, where it's like he is going battling with another rookie. So, I mean, I feel like that puts him in a really good position. And he also adds the wrinkle of, like you said, Nick, the ability to create a fake You know, when he did the fake punt, especially Vanderbilt, he was moving. He was fast. It wasn't like it was a slow. It's going to take a minute to get to the first down. He was there quicker than most. He's one of those gritty guys in which you even saw battling on kickoff and punt, where he's battling, blocking guys downfield. You don't see a lot of punters doing that these days. So I think that kind of adds to his resume as to why he can win the role down in Kansas City.
Right. Next we have is Adam Schuler. He's a defensive tackle. He was undrafted free agent to the Arizona Cardinals. Adam Schuler played 2 seasons for Florida. Before Florida, he was 2 seasons for West Virginia. At his 2 seasons at Florida, he recorded 68 tackles, 5 sacks, and 8.5 tackles for a loss. Not bad in terms of numbers for 2 seasons. I think he's a big guy, athletic, pretty fast. Tyler, myself, we've went against him multiple times in practice. We know what he's capable of doing. Tyler, what do you think?
He is a very strong kid. I see him fitting in as a run stopper in the league. He's got that ability to hold his own in a double team and stop them from moving him. And I think if you look at a couple games my senior year, I think when we played Tennessee my senior year, he was a big run stopper during that game. He held his own, and he was working through double teams to get into the backfield.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he's joining fellow Gator Jonathan Bullard as well, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, I think he is in Arizona.
Yeah.
I think, a Gator going to a Gator, playing the same position, I think, he'll help him out, lead him through the ropes. I think he'll be a good fit for Arizona, I do. So for our last undrafted free agent, we have David Reese, who's a linebacker. He got signed with the Panthers. He's actually going to join this call right now, which is awesome. So let's get him on the phone. So joining us right now is David Reese, linebacker, just got signed with the Panthers. He has an amazing numbers as terms of his 4 years over the University of Florida, 324 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 19.5 tackles for a loss, and 1 interception. To me, David, you're a prototypical middle linebacker. You're very smart. You're very physical. Tell us about your process.
It was interesting with all this Corona stuff going on. So basically, my agency did a great job. I trained with Pete Bomarito over there in Davie, and basically I just had to send the information out. I was surprised not to get a combine invite or any bowl game invites, but, everything worked out for the best, and, I'm just ready to grind and get to camp.
Right. How did it feel getting that call?
It felt great, man. Everything's a blessing, especially coming from an area where I'm from. Not many kids get that opportunity, so it's a blessing, and I'm just ready to work.
We're proud of you over here. We are.
I appreciate it.
Not having a pro day, that getting canceled, how did you feel about it?
I feel like it kind of affected me. But, I had to do what I had to do to work with it. I had to send videos out to all the guys, and some teams had me on the board with them during the process over FaceTime and things like that. But, it definitely affected me.
Right. Tyler, you got any questions?
Yeah, so with the whole coronavirus, all that stuff going on, everything's different. So what are the next steps for you in terms of going to minicamp, and what's that looking like?
Right now, we're just waiting for everything to open up. We had a rookie minicamp online and over through Zoom, and they got everything scheduled up. So we had basically a lot of meetings throughout the morning and afternoon, and then we're just waiting on to get the call when everything opened up. We're just ready to go. But
Yeah,
I've been training at home and staying ready. Yeah.
Those meetings when I was in minicamp with the Falcons, it was meetings all day.
Yeah, that's
you didn't have a break, man.
It was the same thing, but online. Pretty much.
Meetings.
Marcus, anything?
You know what it is.
No, I mean, Reese, who are you? In terms of, I guess, with the Panthers, who are you most excited to learn from?
Probably Shaq. He's a vet, and also Tahir Whitehead. Those are 2 vet guys. Tahir, older guy. I watched him a lot when he was with the Lions. Big physical guy. And Shaq, he's great in coverage, and I've seen him work with Kuechly. So those 2 guys, I'm ready to see how those guys look in person.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate it, David Reese, for coming on this call. The Florida Gator community is proud of you, and we know you're going to do great. Thank you for taking the time to just jump on this call with us. We appreciate it.
No problem. All right, y'all.
Hey, are you on the Stairmaster? Are you in the Stairmaster? Are you in treadmill?
I'm on the elliptical right now, man.
Okay. There you
Got my
go.
little setup going.
Get it in, baby. Got to get it.
Nice.
Hey, gotta get it in.
Yeah. All right, my guys.
I appreciate it.
All right, Reese.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on our first episode of Gator Buzz. We'll definitely be looking for episode 2 next week. Thanks for joining today, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. See you guys.
Take care.